Good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex. I'm joined by Jamie and James.
Morning.
And we are going to talk about if Kanye West's new album, Jesus is King, is as, bad, as they say?
It's either really bad or genius.
But what are we going to title it? Is it as good, mixed, or what?
Lame?
Lame.
I've got one word to sum up this album. Jesus Christ. It's shit.
No way.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. That's
that wasn't
genius.
one word, but that was genius.
So before we go into the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through song by song, go into our thoughts a little bit, and just discuss it from there. But before we move into it, I'll just read a sort of introduction from Wikipedia, so we can catch up on some of the facts behind this album.
Do you think Kanye wrote this himself?
Well, that's actually answered in this, but let me read. Jesus is King is the 9th studio album by American rapper Kanye West. It was released on October 25th, 2019 through Good Music and Def Jam Recordings. The album follows a Christian theme, with West describing it as an expression of the gospel. West had formed his Sunday Service group in January 2019, performing gospel songs and covers of songs from his discography. Sunday Service performed the songs Water and Everything We Need live prior to release. The album features guest appearances from Clips, Kenny G, so on and so forth. The album features production from West, Benny Blanco, and a bunch of other people. West quit using medication to treat his bipolar disorder and began recording in August 2018, originally announcing the album as Yandi. The album missed 2 initial release dates in September and November 2018 under its original title, before being delayed indefinitely. In August 2019, West's wife, Kim Kardashian, re-announced the album as Jesus is King, but it missed 2 planned release dates for late September 2019. The album was released simultaneously with a concert film of the same name. So that's a little bit of history. I didn't realise there was so much going on behind the scenes, because...
Did that say he quit his medication?
Yeah. Can we save that little nugget for later? Because I have like a theory that's largely based on that key piece of information. And one last thing before we move on, it is currently sitting, as of me recording this, on Metacritic with a 57 overall from critics and a 5.6 user score, so pretty much identical, with the user reviews, 129 of them being positive and 118 of them being negative. So it's a proper lightsaber battle with the green versus the red clashing. So, top level thoughts. Do we like the album? We sort of heard from James already, but you might as well begin.
I don't. I will say that previous Kanye West albums they've taken their time to grow on me. Like Life of Pablo, that took a while for me to fully get onto that. And this album, I really don't see that happening. I don't think it's going to grow on me at all.
Okay.
If anything, I think I'm only going to get more annoyed at this album. Like I don't want to hear it.
Okay, Jim.
I find the album quite annoying, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of let down.
For me, the word is irritating, because I love the production.
Yeah.
Can't stand the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's like the worst thing. The album has very little to say, in my opinion, beyond the most obvious surface level sort of commentary.
This is definitely my least favorite or bottom 3 Kanye albums.
I would agree with that. Definitely. Like, every album in the last 10 years by Kanye has pretty much been better.
Yeah. Let's just start by going into the songs now. I mean,
one by one.
We're going to just go through, and it's only a short album. It's only about 27 minutes long, so you just
I
rock
expected it to be longer. And it makes me think, with the amount of times this has been delayed and rebranded, I honestly think, listening to it, it's been shit out. It's literally been pushed through the door just to get something out, because he hasn't had anything out for a while. I just think that's what's happened.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon theory, but like he just had to get something out. So is he just going to patch it like he did Life of Pablo? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he is going to go in and change things.
Really?
I'm pretty sure he's said that he's going to on Twitter.
And I would say, if he's already said that, do you think that if we listened to Life of Pablo the first time, we'd probably feel the same way?
I just think this has started off lower than the original Life of Pablo.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that.
So the first song, nice little short one called Every Hour. It's only 1 minute and 52 seconds long. It's got the Sunday service choir sort of chanting this grand operatic kind of intro. And I mean, I thought it was quite a good opener. It leaves an impression to me.
Yeah.
Like this would be a great opener to an album that was consistent and interesting throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It sets up the album on high standards, I think. It sets it up really well. Like my one thing I've noted down about this is good. It's a good intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally, I'd listen to this song again. Generally do like it.
And it's not really... It doesn't really represent anything that interesting to me in terms of what they're actually saying. It's just kind of setting the tone. Because it's all... That's one of my biggest issues with the album is how just repetitive thematically it is and lyrically.
Yeah.
Like it's just saying the same shit over and over again, which gets really tiring. It's okay in this first song though because it is this whole choir, and choirs sound awesome.
The thing is with this song, like lyrically, like the rest of the album, like you just said, there isn't really anything going on.
There's nothing really to break down.
No, like you look at Ultralight Beam.
Well, yeah,
not only does it set the album up thematically in terms of how it sounds, but also what it's about and
I actually noted specifically down that it is worse Ultralight Beam from Life of Pablo, which is another strange thing to me because it's not like religion is a new theme for Kanye.
No.
In all of his albums he at least mentions it a few times, but it's never usually the main focus. Normally his albums seem to be more focused on exploring some kind of idea about himself. For example, Yay is him exploring his new outlook based on his daughter being born. Or, of course, like Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, it's him sort of analysing himself and declaring himself as like a rock star. There's a lot to be said, and even in his way older albums, he explores like all the kind of typical stuff that up-and-coming rappers do about, you know, money and fame and sex and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maintained a certain level of interest to me because it has a sort of personal touch to it. You learn something about him each time. And I feel like what I learned about him with this album they're nothing even really to do with what he's saying in the album. Like you gain an impression of the way he's feeling at the moment just from just the vibe of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even matter what he's saying, you just have this impression and you don't want to hear anything more from him because it is so one note and so predictable. Based on his like idea of the album being that it is sort of a love letter to Christ, as it were. And
it's a gospel album. I mean, like, I don't think there's a whole lot you can really do with that genre if you're sticking.
No. Well, but
like, in a sound way, he has, but in a lyrics way, like, what else can you say?
Meaning.
Yeah, it at its worst, it sounds like just Christian rap. You know, the stereotypical, this is like hilariously bad type stuff. But that's only the first song.
I will say, you mentioned Ultralight Beam, and I will say this song's better than that, because if you have a shuffle of random songs, this song will always fit in better, no matter what. But Ultralight Beam is obviously better for the Life of Pablo, but I just find this a lot easier to listen to.
I could see that because of how short it is, but I think the lyrically, Ultralight Beam's so much more interesting.
And Ultralight Beam actually goes somewhere.
Yeah, it has like multiple different people doing verses, and what they're saying is actually really interesting.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
As much as we can go into the lyric and everything behind that, things need to sound good. You need to be able to listen and have fun.
Well, yeah, that's not really
And
a problem with any of his albums, though. Like, they all
This one,
usually sound pretty incredible,
Yeah.
production-wise. And there isn't really any complaints I have about that, or maybe a couple here and there, but we'll get to that as we go. Second song. What do we think of this one? To me, this is not insulting or anything. It's just
weak.
It's not very memorable. Again,
not
it's just a
memorable,
very
it's-
short song. There's no real memorable hook or
No.
memorable moments,
The
particularly.
song has like no chorus, and it's just got people saying hallelujah.
It's like a concept. It's like he's just sort of coming up with ideas of, oh, this would make a good song, but then it ends
Yeah.
because it's so short, barely really explores anything. Lyrically is just kind of annoying because it's just quoting John 8:33 in the Bible and other segments. Like, it again, already on the second song, you're seeing a repetitive, like, I'm fine with the idea of exploring religion through an album.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that he is religious or not. Just apply it to yourself and communicate it in a way that's interesting and creative, not just this top level, Jesus is everything. Like, it's like we've missed the interesting part of, like, how he's compartmentalized in his head why being religious is important to him. It just is important to him at this point. And, like, I mean...
Well, he speaks about it as if it's important to everyone, you know? Like, it's just a fact that God exists and people need to respect that.
Yeah, and we'll go more onto that as we go on.
I didn't like this song at all.
Yeah, to me it's just right down the middle. You could pluck it out the album and not much would change, really, in my opinion. Like, it's just fine. 3, the first good song and the best song in the album for me is Follow
Yeah, I
God.
was going to say best song on the album.
Yeah, 100%.
It kind of sounds like the classic Kanye.
Yeah, it sounds more something that Kanye would typically do. Like, back in, 5 years ago, this is a very Kanye song.
Yeah, because it's built around, like, a really classy sample that props everything up.
Yep.
Gives it, like, that grand sort of air that it's after. Unfortunately, it is really short. It's only a minute 45.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want more, though,
is that
particularly.
short?
It's incredibly short, yeah. And for me, the rule of thumb with this album is it's kind of a balancing act of... Because they all have really good production, it's... Can you present the lyrics in a way that isn't so distracting that I just can't listen to it? I can't justify listening to it. And because of his flow being so quick and the wordplay being a lot better on the song, I'm able to listen to it and not immediately be pulled out by the fact that it's just someone saying Jesus is king over and over and over again.
Yeah. A lot of the songs, I think, have a much slower tempo than most rap songs. So you can really hear what they're saying.
I would not ever class this as rap. This is not a rap album.
He raps on it, though. And this song is the most rap-heavy song. Like,
And surprise, it's the best song on the album.
Yeah, because that is what Kanye's good at.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of all, like, what's even the song, what is it about? Follow God. I can't say I've really analysed the lyrics particularly, but...
I mean, he's just talking about, like, following God, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like you don't need to analyse further than just the name of the song, and you just know exactly what is going to be said based on the name of the song alone.
Does he swear once on this album?
No, it's squeaky clean.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so a lot of people are upset that it just, to them, seems like kind of filtered Kanye. Like, you're kind of missing bits here and there, but I don't necessarily agree. Like, I think you could make a sweary, rude rap album and have it still be interesting, but not with this angle.
Yeah.
Now, song 4, Closed on Sunday, arguably the worst song on the album for me, because I think it's the worst lyrically.
I wouldn't say it's the worst, because you ain't gonna forget this song.
No.
Well, it's memorable, but that's what I said before we started recording. It's the most memorable song on the album, but for all the wrong reasons.
I think progressionally, the song gets much better. It gets really good at the end, but you have to get through the first very slow, very dull to be able to get to the good bit.
the production is amazing on the song. I noted down that it's the first one that kind of sounds almost like it's from a musical. I found that a lot of the songs on this album come across like that towards the middle and end. I'll mention the others when we get to them.
It's quite a creepy sounding song as well.
I'm going to go into that when we go to a song coming up. But there is this weird, kind of creepy, unsettling, I think unintentional vibe to this album.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a bit. But this is when it really begins.
It kind of, if I had to put it in a word, I know I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen trailers. It just reminds me of Midsommar, like this weird kind of weird feeling. Yeah, cult-like thing.
I guess we got to be careful about just. I don't want to come across like I just hate all Christians and believing in that.
No, it is a specific thing from this album.
Yeah, it's not just the fact that he is Christian and believes in those values. Like, there's something more going on, I think.
But this song, this one makes me realize how it could be Yandhi, a sequel to Yeezus.
Right.
Because it's like the Hold My Liquor of this album.
Yeah.
And it gives me the same vibe that Yeezus did, which is like a guy that's kind of either losing it or has lost it. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's coming from the perspective of someone that's just broken.
But there's something... The hook of the song is closed on Sunday, you my Chick-fil-A, which is so incredibly bad.
What does it even mean?
Well, we don't have Chick-fil-A here in the UK, so I'm sure... Do we?
Chick-fil-A's in England now.
Well, like,
literally
not like
week.
in the UK.
It's not like KFC.
You can't... There's like 2 Taco Bells in the UK. So they're technically here, but like as a rule, we don't have like Chick-fil-A and a lot of these American chains. So already it's like a weird lyric to put in an album that he knows is going to be listened to worldwide. It's such like a douchey, like California like line to me. Like comparing...
It's quite Twittery though. Like...
Yeah, that's what I also hate about it as well.
Had you heard of Chick-fil-A before?
Yes.
Had you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
What's the lyric again?
Closed on Sunday, you my Chick-fil-A.
Closed on Sunday, you my Chicoland.
But like it's just it's a ridiculous comparison with of course church.
No, but he's
going to church on Sunday.
But he's talking about someone, right? Because he says closed on Sunday, so that person is closed on Sunday. They're
going to church.
What does he mean by closed? Is my point.
I don't know how to look into this because it's so fucking just weird. I don't understand where any of it's like where the logic is in any of it.
Well, I think he's just saying it because
they won't.
Chick-fil-A is famous for being, I guess, closed on Sunday.
Yeah,
I've heard that multiple times over the years.
No, but I mean,
it's taking that lyric and applying it to this religious theme.
No, but like, what can that mean? A person being closed on Sunday. Like,
does it mean like this person is physically busy and not able to do anything else because they're at church and being at church
all day?
Well, I don't know.
It's just weird.
It's just a strange hook for a song to me.
That's what I mean. It's like he's lost.
It's like a product placement song almost.
What I find the most about this song is it's a really weird contrast to like just Kanye. Like
this is more like the
thing. Every album he's ever made, this song is weird because of how like completely opposite it is to him.
Well, it's like making an entire song out of that bleached asshole thing from Life of Pablo.
Yeah, but lamer.
Yeah,
worse.
But because there seems to be the album in general basically has no humor in it, really, no levity. But then you get to this track.
Be humorous. I mean, this has to be humorous.
I can't see how
it can't be serious.
Yeah, in which
because
case
he screams Chick-fil-A at the end, like screams.
That's a very Kanye thing.
Yeah,
that's like him. That's like
he literally says one of the lyrics are, "You my number one with a lemonade." Like it's just like a love song, I guess, because that sells.
What does he mean with a lemon? It's so
because
weird.
He's just comparing it to like fast food. Like I'll have a number one with lemonade.
Ah.
So it's like a really ultra lame, corny Christian rap thing to do.
The way he says it is creepy.
Yeah, because the guy, he's a sex addict pervert, or he was.
And that just doesn't work with this album.
Literally every previous album, apart from Ye, is like just full of like sex shit constantly.
Do you not think...
is full of sex shit.
Yeah.
Do you not think that after recording this album, he goes back and like fucks 5 girls? That doesn't work with the whole fucking tone of this album.
I don't think he is now.
No, he straight up is.
I don't think he is right now, because I think he actually believes the shit he's saying.
Oh, so he's just clicked like that instantly?
Yeah, and we'll get onto that in a second, but yeah. Let's just go on to the next one, because the like wasted production on that one is really annoying to me, because it sounds really interesting.
My comments, I've like, when I was singing this, I just thought it was really groovy. It'd be an incredible song if Kanye wasn't on it.
Yeah, like if I could just listen to the instrumental, I would. Yeah, I would
have a better time. Yeah, Kanye ruins this song.
This album probably, as like an instrumental album, would be awesome. Really good.
It'd be better.
Yeah, it'd be very good. Number 5, On God.
This is another one that like it sounds good, but the lyrics suck.
Yeah, I'd say it has some of the best production to me. Like I want to like this song just based on how it sounds. Like it's a really good beat that they have going. But again with the lyrics, I'd say this one, it's not so distracting that I can't listen to it. I actually quite like this song. But as you say, I guess the whole point is that it's him saying that God is responsible for like everything
that he's done,
got.
He's
saying on God, as in it's been on God to get me to where I am and to where I am right now, and how finding God is, given me in some form of enlightenment or whatever.
Yeah, that's why he's like so rich.
I noted down there's a weird lyric towards the end, and I might have interpreted it wrong, but about how he sort of justifies the prices of like his merch or his music or something.
Yeah, I heard that.
And he says like he needs to put food on the table for his family and whatnot, and that because he had to get the like I love money thing in somehow. He had to flex his cash somehow and talk about how much money he makes.
He doesn't though.
Number 6, Everything We Need.
Everything We Need.
This is the one with TY $$ and Ant Clemens.
Okay, this is the one where when we were listening to it, I said I've got nothing to say. All I've written down is vanilla. Like it's just an amalgamation of what's come before it.
Yeah, the song, the point of the song is just him sort of he's explaining his glee for how content he feels that he's now discovered God.
I found this song in particular pretentious. But generally,
I don't know if pretentious is the right word. I'd say preachy more so. It's quite a preachy album. Like quite literally, they literally have like preachers in it.
This song though, I found this is the song with the weakest production. Like the production is
it's a pretty boring song. Like I'm struggling. Yeah. Like, we literally just listened to it and I can barely even remember anything about it.
Mm-hmm. It's the most forgettable by far.
There's a weird lyric about what if Eve made apple juice that I noted down, which is just like, okay, whatever.
But what if Mary was in the club?
Well, yeah, I noted that down because we have mocked Life of Pablo for little things like that for ages. Mm-hmm. And what if Mary is in the club line? Which song's that in?
The fucking Wolves.
Yeah. In Wolves is so terrible. It's such a bad line. There's no way to justify that, and we've mocked it non-stop. And this album is full of those kind of moments. Next up is Water.
Another one I really don't like. Really don't like this song.
I don't either. But there's one thing. I think the start of it reminds me of Evangelion.
See, I don't hate this song.
This might be my least favorite song on the album.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why it really bugs me.
I like the sound though of it.
That's what I don't like. It sounds like nothing. It sounds.
No, but I like if you just took the lyrics out and were able to just focus on the quite subtle like layers that they're doing in the background. There is something to it. It needs more exploration and expansion.
I mean, it sounds like water, you know, like it sounds to me see-through. There's no, isn't that
nothing.
What
the song's about though? It's kind of a
but that doesn't mean I like it.
No.
But
what is it about these songs about water? Like it just flashes me back to when we were at primary school, and there was, because it was a Christian school, we would sing "Drop in the Ocean."
Yeah. Like a drop.
Which is like this corny ass religious song, which is so dumb. And
is it even religious?
Yeah, no, yes. Oh fuck! I'm getting it back in my head.
What's the religious aspect of "Drop in the Ocean"? I'm sorry, this isn't a Kanye song, but no,
it's not.
It's not. It's about like
an environmental message. I get.
No, it's not even.
It's like about
drop in the ocean,
emotions.
drop of emotion. We're part of the ever-changing tide.
Like we're all together, you know, and we gotta act as one. It's communism.
It's a communist song from Russia.
Yeah, it was water where it sort of starts to get a bit uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, where maybe that's why I dislike it.
Yeah, because you're relatively deep in at this point, and it's like, man, he really did just make the most surface level Christian rap album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this shit is going to be played in primary schools, like around America, I'm sure.
I would doubt that.
No, I would not be surprised.
No, I could imagine hearing this water song in primary school.
No.
Why not?
Because
they were playing Black Eyed Peas in primary school, and they've got some pretty horrendous lyrics.
Do they?
Yeah.
Kanye horrendous?
Yeah.
Well, this album's not horrendous though. So yes, I think it will be played in schools. Alabama, fucking gonna love this song, this album.
They hate black people.
Okay, besides that,
it probably will be a commercially successful one because of that Jesus angle. It'll probably get a few people jumping in. But let's move on to number 8, God Is, which to me is the most interesting song on the album for reasons that aren't the song itself. Because to me, and this could just be me creating this insane narrative in my head around it, but to me, this song reads like, and this is a deep cut reference, and only Jim will understand it, but there is a song in the War of the Worlds musical where an insane character who has lost his mind is underground, and he sings a song about like his hopes and dreams and what he wants to achieve. God Is really reminded me of the energy of that character from that fictional work, where it's like the point in the story where the character has either done one of two things: reached an extreme low before they climb out of the low, or it's like a weird bittersweet ending for the character where in their head they believe that what they're doing is true and just, but from the like audience's perspective they're gone. So for me, there is like this really kind of creepy, disturbing narrative around this song from my perspective.
That is a cool comparison.
Yeah, it made me come to a realization about Kanye where in my head I'd seen him sort of as like, and this is funny to think, but not like David Bowie, but like David Bowie in the way that David Bowie was always sort of his own person, and like he didn't give a shit what other people thought about him. But this made me realize that Kanye is just a human. He's just as flawed as every other human, and it really kind of brought him down to what comes across as like a really fucked up mentally ill person. And we mentioned the bipolar medication thing, and it is a really common trait of bipolar people to, if they do something like refuse their medication or, you know, look for a way to deal with the insane, unmanageable ways they're feeling, to become a devout religious person.
Really?
That's common behavior. And it's just too coincidental to me that like that is specifically mentioned, that this started being worked on as soon as he stopped taking medication, and then this album comes out, and it's the most. There's this. We haven't got to the song yet, but he says something about how there's nothing worse than a hypocrite, and to me, the way this album comes across is that like he's being insanely hypocritical based on his behaviors.
I wrote down as like notes for the whole album, contradictory.
Yeah,
right, to everything that he said before, like,
because the album
contrast.
The album seems to almost be condemning his old stuff. Like, we'll get onto it when we talk about his next song, which is literally about this very topic, I think. But yeah, is there anything else about God Is?
Just no.
The only thing I wrote down is that Kanye, I'm sorry, but he can't sing.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got like this weird gravelly voice in the song, and I think he's trying to channel one of those priests that have like a really strong, commanding voice.
No, because he's doing like a high pitch. I think it's that his voice literally can't do it.
On the album, though, this is the song I'm the most obsessed with because of that reasoning, though. Because I'm just like, I keep listening to it on repeat. Like, this is just so interesting to me. Like, not even because of what the song really is, but what I'm implying about it and what I'm trying to piece together in my head, just as inspiration. That was, one of the more interesting things about it to me. But Hands On is next. One of the better songs again, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Creative production. It's quite weird and different, which I like to hear.
It sounds good, but also, again, it's got that sort of creepy vibe.
Well, yeah, because this is the one where he says, literally in the lyrics, about how he's been working for the devil. Sort of implying that everything he's done beforehand is sort of, devil. Well, all of his bad behavior is blamed on the fact that he was working for the devil.
Yeah, I mean, that could mean like the shitty things that he has definitely done, or it could mean all of his swearing and his rap music.
Yeah. Either way, it's very just like, what? So for you, it's bad to listen to your old music that made you famous. What are you trying to say?
Like on God as well, he's like thanking God for getting him to where he is, but it's actually the devil got him there.
Yeah, it's a very intellectually dishonest sort of approach to the material, because it just comes across like, he's been in an incredibly low place because he's lived this insane life, and no one's brain you just can't comprehend that kind of thing, and the way, especially with how mentally ill he is. And you can't deal with it in normal ways. So what he's done is he tried the medication route, and clearly maybe it didn't work for him, and now he's going the other route, which has become a diehard Christian.
Yeah, well, you see, I
don't say that. No,
I don't want to take anything that he says in this album too seriously until his next album, because if he's back to just like
Kanye
goofing about with the lads in his next, like he said on Twitter, like, I said I'm gonna do a gospel album, and here I did it.
So was it to him just experimenting with
that's
premise?
the thing,
that style?
I don't know, and if
so, that's a really shallow album idea to me.
Yeah, but with his next album, if it's in the same vein as this, then this album, I think, will be better. Because
I could agree
because
with
that creepy stuff will be even like.
Well, yeah, because you're trying to figure out, did you mean that part? Was that supposed to be sort of satirical? Was that a jokey line? Like he's done so much in the past.
Yeah, and again, with the existence of the Chick-fil-A bit, like, how serious is this?
That to me is
so stupid. Fucking, you my Chick-fil-A.
That's what's so confusing to me, because I genuinely don't know.
I don't think anyone.
I don't know.
He doesn't.
Everyone just has to play guessing games with all of his stuff because it's just so bizarre like that sometimes.
It just... I don't want to get into jar personal too much, but it reminds us of a situation we've had in our lives. Literally. And if Kanye does go deep into this and we never get a good Kanye album again, this album will feel really weird. Like, I don't ever
maybe that's why I had
the
the extra layer of discomfort having a friend that
has done the same
for
basically.
A Christian cult. Relatively recently, that rings true for us, obviously.
Yeah, this year.
Number 10, Use This Gospel.
It's the same. It's repetitive. It's just the same as the songs before it.
This one,
I think this is the second best song on the album.
Really? See, I really don't like this song.
Really?
I do not like it.
Yeah, because it seemed to be, again, familiar territory, whereas it seemed to be channeling Twisted Fantasy a little bit with that like humming thing.
Well, there's the humming thing in the previous song as well. They use like the same effect.
Yeah, but I thought the lyrics were especially bad in this one.
When I say favorite song, I'm not listening. When I just put my headphones in and listen to a song from this album, I am not listening to what he's saying. Like, I can't, otherwise then I don't like the song. Like, I'm sorry. In my opinion, it's a poorly written album. Every single song on it. So I'm just listening to the music and his like vocals.
This one's on with the saxophone, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a part that I really like.
Well, yeah, I like the idea of that and that coming in and adding like a bit of class and. But I mean, you have to get to it first. Through all this just preachy, Yeah,
but the whole album is preachy.
But some songs are definitely worse than others. But
Chick-fil-A is the least preachy, but you said that's the worst.
Yeah, because it's just dumb and like it doesn't fit the rest of the album. With the rest of the album seemingly so serious, and suddenly you have this Chick-fil-A song that sounds like it's from Life of Pablo or something. Really weird choice to have that in there. And finally, 11, Jesus is Lord. It's a 40-second long sort of outro. And it's just nothing. Like, I mean...
I wrote down number 11, nothing.
It's the kind of thing where it's like, no one's listening to these intros and outros unless it's like a bookend to an album. Like Demon Days and a few Gorillaz albums do that sort of thing. And it's cool there because the whole album's good, but... And that's sort of the whole album. Interesting fact that I saw was Adam Tyson, who became West's personal pastor after April 2019, was present in the recording studio of the album and helped tweak certain lyrics to articulate the gospel more clearly. So it has the literal hand of God in the album.
Okay, so that's literally why it sounds like a cheap fucking Christian rap album.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just sounds like one of those as a result.
That's really weird.
Like, what Out of Touch pastors would think would be like, this is what you got to use your your fame to do, to spread the Lord of Jesus, the word of Jesus.
I don't think I can listen to this album ever again. I think that's
the more you listen to it, the worse it becomes, and the more you think about it, the worse it becomes. The more you analyze the lyrics, the worse it becomes. Yeah. Unless I'm missing something major, I'm sure people in the comments will say. But
the worst thing that religion can do to someone is like take away their personality. And Kanye has.
That's one of the biggest problems with this album. It has no voice, no personality. It sounds like the church. It sounds like the church made it more than Kanye did.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the best thing about each Kanye album is that you learn a bit about him. Like, we already knew that he was religious. So, and what else does this album teach us, like, personally about that man? Nothing.
Yeah.
He has nothing to say on this album.
Because you can only say, I believe in God so many ways, without it being like this weird, like, argumentative, preachy thing. Which at points it does reach that kind of level. And the reason I keep saying it's preachy is because it's not very accepting of any other like idea.
Yeah, or any other religion.
Yeah, which I'm sure is normal of like that kind of Christian rock,
of gospel,
rap, gospel kind of music. But it ain't cool. It ain't on Vogue. It ain't fashionable. It's just like, what the fuck?
It's just weird.
This is just clearly the result of someone who is lost, and they're using the church as a way to try and pick themselves up and find themselves. And that is what's kind of... It keeps it interesting to me, but I don't know if I'm interested for all the wrong reasons. Like, for the same way I'm interested in all these like atrocious films that like I'm obsessed with. Like, is it on that sort of level where I'm just trying to explain it? Mm-hmm. Because I really think it is quite vapid. And like he's got some like his worst song, Kanye's worst song to me is Drunk and Hot Girls. I think that song is so awful. Lyrically, it's just insulting to me, and I hate that song. And there's nothing as bad as that on this album, to me. But it's like the inverse of whatever album that was on. I can't remember. Graduation?
Yeah, I think it's Graduation.
But yeah, it's like the inverse, where there's like one really good song and the rest is just awful.
So, what I'll ask... What do you think of this album overall?
Disappointing.
It is disappointing.
Like I said at the start, like it's just lame.
It is a lame album. Yeah. And I think it's a waste. The talent that went in is such a waste.
Massive waste.
Because this same production with someone else writing lyrics for it could have been incredible. Like actually incredible stuff.
Yeah, and they could have even still had like the religious aspect in it, It's the fact that it doesn't look anywhere apart from at God.
Yeah. The comparison I could think of was like, imagine the film District 9, but take out the aliens, take out all the cool guns and sci-fi elements, just take out everything so there's just nothing interesting about the movie. And then all you're left with is this really obvious metaphor, really obvious statement. And it's like, okay, so what's the point then? Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing.
Yeah.
It's not going to change anyone's minds. It hasn't really explained his mind to me and why he feels the way he does.
No.
Like, it really is just a one-way, really not learning much here.
It's weird how bipolar his music is, though. Mm-hmm. Was it this year that he released I Love It?
Yes.
Was it this year or was it last year?
No, it was this year.
Mm-hmm. It was either the end of last year or early this year. It
wasn't that long ago.
No, I think it was last year. It was last year. Yeah, it definitely was.
Right.
But, you're such a fucking hoe. I love it.
Well, that to me is very, like, on the nose. Like, he knows that it's ridiculous.
Yes,
yeah, but still, he's saying it.
Yeah.
And now look at what he's saying in this. Like
that's why I just don't believe a word of it.
It's a complete And like there's way more of Kanye being gross and sweary and all this shit.
That's what I always liked about him though. He was so like unfiltered. And like he was completely candid.
Yeah, like even
and open.
Yeah.
And now he's like the opposite. Like I don't even know him anymore.
Yeah. He seems more medicated now that he's off meds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like medicated by religion. That's weird.
I can't say, given all the reasons we've given and how there's like only 2 good songs, this album is not in the middle. It's shit. You cannot argue this album's in the middle when there's literally 2 high points with the West being low. You can't. I don't think you can say it's. Arguably, it's just probably his worst album.
I would totally understand someone making a case for that.
Yeah. And I mean, on the inverse, if you're like really religious, this might be your favourite one.
Yeah.
It'll speak to you.
Yeah. I will say though, Yeezus, I prefer Yeezus to this album.
Because that's your previous least favourite.
Yeah. It probably was.
And
but even then.
I know there's something somewhere saying that this album kind of grew from Yandhi. I've listened to the Yandhi leak, and I'd take Yandhi every single day over this album. That had, well, unbelievably shit as well. There was actually like charm there. It had charm. It had something. It wasn't like kind of lifeless.
Well, this is what Kanye has made when he is perceiving himself as being happy. And normally, happy people don't make interesting music.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, happy people aren't talented.
Because they're happy.
If this is all of the future work we'll see from Kanye, I'm going to be sad.
Okay, just so we all know, anytime I said Kanye tweeted that or something, I was wrong. I must have seen memes or something.
Okay, so this is it. Bye, Kanye. I'm gonna end the show. I'm gonna end the show with Kanye himself. I miss the old Kanye.